Hello and welcome to the Redstone Review. This is a grassroots community show that features interviews of local organizations and businesses from the town of Redstone and the Crystal Valley. Our mission is to give the audience a small taste of the events and activities that are taking place in this unique town. Redstone is just 1 hour away from Aspen on Colorado's West Elk Scenic Byway, Highway 133. The town of Redstone, also called Ruby of the Rockies, is Pitkin County's little secret treasure, a beautiful, picturesque artist community located in the Elk Mountain Range in the White River National Forest. It is a haven for artists and outdoor enthusiasts. Learn to fly fish on the pristine Crystal River or take a horseback ride in the backcountry of Colorado. Redstone is a National Historic District full of rich history, which includes the famous Redstone Castle. Redstone is a year-round destination which offers tourists a wide array of lodging, restaurants, art galleries, gift shops, and antiques. You can stay the weekend, make it a day trip, or attend one of the summer concert series that are held throughout the summer. My name is Lisa Wagner, and I will be hosting conversations with local artists and members of the Redstone Art Foundation, who are preparing for their 24th annual Labor Day weekend art show and sale. This show is taking place and starting on Friday, August 30th, and goes through Labor Day weekend, Monday, September 2nd. Let me begin by introducing my guests. We have Jimmie Benedict, who is the president of the Art Foundation. She's an artist herself, clothing designer, and the event chairman of this event. You do it all.
Oh, yes.
We love that. And I would like to introduce the artists that are featured this year, Ida Burnaman and Jim Mason, who will be exhibiting and selling their art at the show. So let's begin. I'm going to begin with you, Jimmie. And this is the 24th year of the Redstone Labor Day Weekend Art Show. How did this successful art show begin?
Redstone that always seems to have a committee going that's saying, what could we do next? And in 1995, a group said, oh, wouldn't it be fun to, put on an art show in the barn or something? And put on a show in the Redstone Inn with 22 artists at the time. And the event was so successful that they kept doing it for now 24 years. They went on to found the Redstone Art Foundation after that with a mission statement that was to generate excitement, interest, and passion for the arts, to provide an opportunity or venue for participation for artists, to integrate the interests of the Redstone Art Foundation with the town, to establish Redstone as an art colony, and to teach professionalism and technique. And it now takes about 100 volunteers to put on the show. And if you'd like to volunteer, we always need them.
And we always need that.
And that's pretty good when the town only says it has 92 inhabitants. So we have a good group of volunteers.
So congratulations and thank you to the volunteers that make
Yes.
this possible. So Jimmie, why do you think that Redstone attracts so many artists?
Well, if you've ever been to Redstone, it's a really beautiful, natural place, and people have been with the cliffs and the river, and you just have to stop and take a picture or stop and. You were out drawing the other day, Ida.
Yes, I was.
It's just such a beautiful place, and it's been attracting people ever since the town was built at the turn of the century. After the mines closed, then Frank Michaud founded his studio there, and his work's in the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the Denver Museum and the Carbondale Post Office. And we've had many other, like the Western painter Jack Roberts, Eric Johnson, Janus Opes, and several, and people that are still putting their studios in the Crystal River Valley.
It's amazing the artists that have been
We do.
and
It's amazing.
are around now, like you all. You're the next generation of artists. So, Jimmie, could you share with us the history of the Art Foundation?
Well, like I said, it started basically after the 1995 first show. And then in 2003, the son of Jack Roberts, Gary Miller, gave some money to the foundation to start a scholarship in memory of his dad. And a lot of people in the Crystal River Valley know the work of Jack Roberts, a Western painter that was known up and down the Roaring Fork Valley. So we became a 501c3 nonprofit organization at that time so that we could then give money. So now we give scholarships to kids at the Roaring Fork High School that plan to go on in the arts. And this year we gave scholarships to 3. But I want to say that in those years, we've given out just shy of $50,000 in scholarships to the kids. And our winners this year are Kendall Bernot from Redstone, Jho-Ann Cerdenola from Carbondale, and Anikea Chapman from Basalt. And we're really excited we'll have their work at the show. And also remember that 30% of the sales of all the art go to support our scholarship fund.
Oh, that's great. No, it's amazing what the Art Foundation has created, and we're so fortunate to have you as the president also. And who are your sponsors this year for the Labor Day Art Show?
Our sponsors this year are Miller and Company, Alpine Bank, Propaganda Pie, which has finally gotten open in the Valley just in the last couple of weeks, April and Steve Carver in the Redstone Castle, the Redstone Cliffs Lodge, Redstone Art Gallery, the Bob and Joyce Rankin Fund, and Bethel Party Rentals, who helps with our tents and all of the things we use to put on the show on the lawn of the Redstone Inn.
So thank you to those sponsors. We're very fortunate. And I know that you have talked about the scholarship program for new artists. Is there anything else you want to give a little bit more information about that?
Well, that's just part of why we got around to being a nonprofit and starting starting the scholarship program. And the other things we do on the foundation are, we just took a trip last winter to see the Dior show at the Art Museum in Denver. We're trying to get back to doing workshops. We haven't done any for several years. So those are the things that the foundation wanted to do. But the scholarships are our main focus at this moment.
Oh, that's great. So since we talked about how the Art Foundation, with the incept for that, why don't we talk about the Labor Day weekend art show? And why do people need to make their way up to Redstone for the art show?
Well, it's a lovely drive, for one thing, to come up the Crystal River from Carbondale or over the mountains from Grand Junction or Paonia, or come to Redstone. And it's a beautiful drive. Our shows are set up in tents on the lawn of the Redstone Inn. The weather is usually beautiful at that time of year, and it's just a festive kind of place to come to. The show will open this year on Friday night from 6 to 8. That's August 30th. And there'll be a reception with the artists all being with their work, and there'll be food and wine there, and just a nice time to come and visit with all of the whole community comes out for that. And then the show will be open Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 5, and on Monday from 10 to 4.
Okay. I love coming to the opening reception Friday night because it's just a good way to meet the artists, to indulge yourself with all those lovely appetizers that the locals make, and of course wine. But it's a great way
Always wine.
to spend an evening. So for the audience, I would suggest, yeah, you make it up to Redstone on that Friday night and on the weekend too. So what else besides viewing and buying will be at the art show, Jimmie?
We have 2 or 3 workshops for children's programs. Those are done by Roberta Stokes and Jackie Dearborn, and then Renee Fisher. Both Saturday and Sunday afternoon we'll be doing clay workshops for children.
Okay.
And then during the day there'll be some artists giving demonstrations of their work. Like Doug Graybill will be doing his watercolors and pastels, which is always fun to watch him work. Connie Hendricks does some very nice watercolor demonstrations. On Sunday, Marty Hartman will be doing some things with pressed flowers, and Betsy Blackard will be doing a demonstration with pastels or a workshop. And so there's something going on all the time, and you can also look up the times of these workshops on our website at www.redstoneartfoundation.org. All
Yeah.
one word.
Yeah. Oh, great. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe I'll have to sign up for one of those workshops.
Just show up.
Yeah. So now I want to introduce and talk to my artists that are here today. And I want to introduce Ida Burnaman. And I would like to just find out what medium you use in your art creations.
Well, I use charcoal, dry pastel, oils, and watercolors. All the art principles are virtually the same for all mediums, but there are techniques that are specific to each medium. I really do more pastels now than oils or watercolors.
And we have some of your pastels in this room with us today, too. So tell us about your art background, your career. How did this all get created?
Well, I drew as a child, but I didn't have any formal art instruction until I was working on my master's degree of education in college. I took a drawing class. That led to a few oil painting classes. But having 4 small children, it was too complicated to get out all the oil paraphernalia, so I experimented with watercolors. As a teacher, I taught at various grade levels and special education. I set up a unit for Bay City School District in Texas for severely handicapped children, and it was the first time they were in the school district. I was a diagnostician, a counselor, assistant principal, and a principal K
Oh my
through 8.
gosh. So when did you move to Colorado?
I moved to Colorado in 1990. About that time, the ADA law was implemented for for people with disabilities. So Colorado Mountain College hired me to be a special populations coordinator, which I worked for them for 17 years in that capacity. I also, because I was working for CMC, could take classes. So I took figure drawing, watercolor. I think I took from every artist that taught for CMC in the years that I worked there. I took from Dan Sprigg, Fred Haberline, Dean Bowlby, and many others.
So you told me that you bought your first set of pastels, and so tell me about that and how that all came about.
I was at a garage sale, and there was these beautiful colors. It was a Faber-Castell group of small pastels, about 96 of them, which after I got them home, I dropped them, and now I had a set of over 200. But I played with them, and I was really enthused with them because they are a drawing and a painting medium. And so I started attending international conferences, pastel conferences. And I took some workshops from some internationally known artists like John Elliott of Nyack, New York, Leslie DeMills, Lorenzo Chavez, Doug Dawson, Terry Ludwig, Christine Olson, and others. At the pastel conventions, I discovered that there were more pastels than just the little set that I had. There were many brands, and there were soft pastels, medium hard pastels, and hard pastels, which Faber-Castell were the harder pastels. And that meant that some have more pigment and to ratio to binder. So the hard ones have more binder and less pigment, and the softest ones have more pigment and less binder. And that's important because you can overlay pastels to get some really beautiful colors.
And I think you told me one time that with watercolor, you can add pastels to watercolor too.
Yes, when you overwork a watercolor, you can add pastel and make it a mixed medium.
Okay, so what is your favorite subject to paint, Ida?
Well, I enjoy all subjects, but I really don't paint any specific subject. I paint patterns of light and shadow. And of course, in this environment, the landscapes are just beautiful. I've painted Sopris many times.
Okay. And we're going to go into, do you prefer creating inside or in your studio or what?
Well, I prefer to paint from real life. If I paint plein air, I may have to go out more than one time to do the landscape. Still life setup is the easiest to do because the light source is constant. Figure drawing is next because the light source is constant, but the model has to have a break and they don't always get in exactly the same pose. Landscapes are the most difficult because the light is ever-changing, and there is so much in the environment that you have to eliminate and simplify.
Oh, okay. So your inspiration that you get is landscape, or where do you get your inspiration from?
Well, it's just when I see something that's an interesting light and shadow pattern. It can be a still life, it can be a person's face, or it can be a landscape. Like I said, I've painted Sopris many times because our landscapes are so beautiful here.
They are amazing, beautiful. I agree. I wanted to find out, why do you like to be in this art show?
Well, I've been in the Redstone Art Show from 2009 to 2013, and I'm happy to be back this year because I enjoy showing my work, and I enjoy talking to people that love art. And of course, it's a lot more fun if you sell some of your paintings.
Yeah. No, and also, is there anything else you want to share with us today?
Yes. Live a balanced life, learn some, think some, and draw and paint, and sing and dance, and play and work every day some. That's from Robert Folsom, from Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten.
So we're playing and having fun right now.
Yes.
It's all a good thing. Thank you, Ida. So next, I'd like to introduce Jim Mason.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank
Good.
you.
Let's start off. When did you first come to this valley, Jim?
Well, I moved up here from the Denver area when I was 19 to come up and do my second year of college at Colorado Mountain College. There's another plug for them. And 48 years later, I'm still here.
Now, did you, back then, were you studying art at that particular point in time?
No, actually, I was in a liberal arts program and with really no idea of what I wanted to do or where I was going with the school. In the last semester up there, I transferred into a building trades program that they used to have, and it really gave me a fresh look on learning, and that enabled me to actually get a job that following summer, and I started my first career in construction.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so how long were you in this construction business? Were you a developer or?
Well, I did some development. I was in construction both for myself and with other contractors for about 10 years, mostly in residential work. I did work with some cabinetry, and I had the opportunity to work with a German master craftsman by the name of Will Glassbrenner. And he taught me the fine art of furniture building and really kind of honed the skills, if you will. So I was very fortunate to be able to do that.
Was it some of it finished carpentry? Just
Well,
curious.
yes, a lot of finished carpentry, but the furniture, of course, was that's a whole nother step up, if you
Okay.
will. Yeah.
Okay. And so you mentioned, your first career. What else did you do in this valley?
Well, as I became a little more established in Glenwood Springs and bought a home down there, I ended up joining the volunteer fire department, and that turned into a second career where I was 23 years in the fire department, about 7 of those years as a volunteer, and then went full-time paid. And I was the chief for about 17 years. And
Impressive.
Yeah, well, and in 2000, I retired from that and went into the real estate business and sort of went back to building some spec homes and buying and selling real estate.
Oh my gosh. So, with your past history of careers, many of them, how did you get into the art profession?
Well, when I was a young man, like about 11 years old.
Yes, of course.
Um,
Yeah.
I always enjoyed working with my hands, and I started a little leather business called Consumer Leather Works, and I made watch bands and sandals. It was a time of era, I guess, where the big wad watch bands and
Sure.
things like that were very popular. So I did that and sold to some of the stores down in Denver and that kind of thing. So that was kind of a start of it. And about 5 years ago, I went over to the Loveland, Fort Collins area, and I just took a little 2.5-day blacksmith class over there.
Mm-hmm.
And this, really kind of sparked my interest, and I was very interested in working with metal at that point. And as a result of that class, I actually learned that right here in our own valley were several top-notch forges and many very, very accomplished blacksmiths.
Mm-hmm.
So among them actually was Francis Whitaker, who was a world-renowned blacksmith and metal worker.
So, we're going to kind of move ahead. How would you describe your metal artwork?
Well, all of my work is either hand forged or fabricated.
Mm-hmm.
I use raw steel and sometimes repurposed found objects, gears or various parts. For the most part, I think of my work as being somewhat functional art, tables and chairs, light fixtures, those kinds of things. But I also do larger, more abstract pieces as well. I like to incorporate stone and glass and fire and all kinds of different elements in my work.
So, with your utilizing fire, how do you do that?
Well, basically, I've made several fire features, I call them, and I hook them up to propane and have a fire element involved in it. My concept was to be able to give somebody a piece of artwork or a sculpture for their deck or patio, as opposed to, say, maybe just a small little table or whatever that you might buy at one of the hardware stores. And so adding the heat and light to my work has something that's been very interesting to me, and I've had some fairly good success with those.
Well, I hope you bring a piece
It's
to
been
the art
exciting.
show so I can see that.
There is a plan for that. We're in work.
And so, is there anything else you would like to share with us?
Well, every day is pretty much a learning experience for me and my artwork. So I'm constantly evolving and trying to do various kinds of new projects. I've had some inspiration from some of the old masters, Henry Moore and Barbara Hepworth. This piece here actually sort of reminds me of some of Barbara Hepworth's work. Albert Paley, Vivian Beer, lots of tremendous inspiration out there. So I'm just I'm excited to and honored to be involved with the Redstone Art Show, and would certainly welcome everyone up to the show. It's very nicely presented, and there's a lot of fabulous art there. So please come on up.
Well, thanks for participating in the art show. Look forward to your artwork. And we have a piece just on the table here of one of your sculptors. And as you can see, we have exceptional artists that are participating in this art show. And again, this makes it the premier art show in the Valley. So, Jimmie, is there anything else you want to share with the viewers about the Art Foundation or Labor Day weekend?
Please come, and we're trying to plan more trips to art shows or workshops in the Valley. So please check out our website to know what we're doing up in Redstone.
And leave your email so we can.
Yes,
so
sign
they
up,
can
let us know where you are.
Yes, exactly. So thank you so much to all of you, to my guests, and
Thank you,
I'm
Lisa.
looking so forward to attending the 24th Annual Labor Day Weekend Art Show. This show is free to the public. The location of the art show is outside under the tent on the lawn of the historic Redstone Inn. The opening reception again is on Friday night, August 30th from 6 to 8, Saturday, Sunday from 10 to 5, and on Monday from 10 to 4. The art show is just a great way to come up and to find that special piece for your art collection, or just to learn and have a workshop to attend and what have you. And I do want to say there is going to be a doggy park, because everybody has a dog nowadays, and so we have a place to park your dog. Water treats will be available, plus a place that's covered for your dogs. The art that is displayed will be for sale, and to remember that 30% of the sale proceeds will go directly to the scholarship program.
Exactly.
Which is wonderful. And you will find again that unique gift or add to your own art collection. All restaurants and lodging will be open. There will be castle tours, so you can go onto the castle website, Redstone Castle website, and see what times those will be. And for further information, you can go to www.redstoneartfoundation.org. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us. We will see you at the show. Thanks very much.